Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tinnitist TV. Today I am talking to Rebecca and Megan Lovell. Music has always been a family affair for them. First with their older sibling Jessica in the sweet Americana trio, the Lovell Sisters, and now as the leaders of the harder-hitting roots rock outfit Larkin Poe. But with their latest album Blood Harmony, the two sisters are welcoming some new members into the fold. Unlike previous records that took a decidedly DIY approach, with Rebecca and Megan playing, producing, and programming nearly everything themselves, Blood Harmony features production from Rebecca's singer-guitarist husband, Tyler Bryant, along with backing from their touring band. The result is their biggest, boldest, and most fully realized album to date. A few weeks before Blood Harmony arrived, the Lovells got on the blower from their Nashville homes to talk about songwriting, sister acts, cover tunes, and plenty more. Enjoy. Larkin Poe, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today. We've got Rebecca and we've got Megan. And you guys say Lovell or Lovell?
Lovell, yeah.
Lovell. All right, Lovell it'll be. We're here to talk about your sixth album, Blood Harmony, and dare I say, your best album yet?
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm guessing you guys must feel the same way, right?
I mean, I don't think we've had enough time yet to fall out of love with it. So yeah, I think it's definitely the best. No, actually, in all honesty, I do feel that it's our most authentic record. With every project, we try to, strip more and more of the armor away and try to get to the soft, gooey heart of who we are as people with our art. And I think that we really did make some great leaps forward with Blood Harmony.
First of all, I don't think anybody who listens to this album is going to think soft, gooey heart, because this is pretty much the opposite of soft and gooey. But I mean, so what was your attitude kind of going into this one? Because obviously, you're old hands at this now. You've progressed beyond the stage of, oh, well, we've got another 12 songs. Let's record them and make an album. I'm guessing you kind of had some thoughts about what direction you wanted to take or how you wanted to make it. So kind of, let's talk about that. What was your plan going in?
Yeah, in the last couple of years, we've gained a lot of inspiration from touring and playing for audiences, and specifically the kind of shows we've been doing over the last couple of years, where we're playing these big headline shows and they're selling out and people are coming in and singing the songs. It's a very inspiring sort of experience. So we're writing songs now thinking, what do we want to sing to people? What do we want people to sing back to us? What would be fun to play in a live show? And I think that Blood Harmony was really quite a reflection of touring and us imagining what we would want to play on stage and sort of writing from that perspective and having a lot to draw from as well. We went in knowing exactly what we wanted to do, and I think we accomplished it.
Do you guys write a lot? I mean, did you write 30, 40, 50 songs for this album?
I don't know that we hit like 50, but certainly there were a lot of songs that were written that didn't make it on. We try to cast a pretty wide net, and we are pretty prolific people. Like during the lockdown year, like we released 3 projects effectively, and to be able to work a bunch and to write a bunch and to just be steeped in the music is where we love to be.
Right.
So yeah, there were certainly a lot of songs that didn't make the cut, and I do think it's the best laid plans style of approach as well, where you think you know what you're going to do, and we really did, I think, stick pretty closely to the vision in a lot of ways, but we did triangulate differently. And like once certain songs came into focus, there were others that we thought would be in the mix, but then it was like, oh, we're going to phase those out, like the ugly redheaded stepchildren. No offense to redheads. You know what I mean? Like just sort of renegotiating as you move through. And that's the beauty of creative problem solving, is that it's always changing.
Well, for sure. And I can hear what you were talking about in terms of the live element in the songs, because I mean, you guys never lack for energy, obviously, in your music, but a lot of these do have those big riffs and big choruses, and do sound like they're made to be kind of, blasted out from a stage.
Is that something that you can kind of, sit down though with that in mind and create, or is that just, you write enough songs and these are the ones that fit the bill kind of thing?
I think as a writer, I write very well with a project in mind or with a goal in mind. I think there is an element of paralysis that can sometimes set in when you are unlimited by possibility. For me as a writer, especially, but if I sit down, I'm just like, I'm going to write whatever comes to me. I'm open to anything, anything, anytime. You know what I mean? But if I sit down, I'm like, hey, here's the title that I'm going to work on, or hey, here's a groove I've been wanting to write, or all right, I'm going to write a riff in the key of B. Like putting some parameters in place help me get going, and like sort of puts the train on the track and lets me head some direction. But I do think, as Megan said, with how much, artillery we had in place, with the amount of touring that we had done, we spent, following the Venom and Faith album, we did a lot of touring in support of that record. And we were anticipating ramping up and doing as much touring with our Self-Made Man record whenever the pandemic hit. And then we were fortunate to be able to, on sort of the tail end of the initial push, at the sort of like in 2021, we got to do a lot of touring, and that helped sort of refill our experience meters and like, all right, get into the zone to write. And I think that we wrote some real bops. Like I'm super excited for this album to finally come out and to be able to tour at the top of next year and get these songs out into the space that they were created to fill, that stage. I can't wait.
And again, I don't think anyone listening to this album is going to call them bops. How do you two work together as writers? I mean, is it a case of you are always in the same room together, or do you come to the table with a bunch of stuff and then put pieces together?
I think we like to start the seeds of songs separately. The creative process, it's so vulnerable, and I think throughout the years we've experienced a lot of sibling rivalry over songs. I think it's a spot where ego can definitely creep in.
Sure.
So I think that for us, it works best if we at least start ideas separately, but we've been so much more collaborative on this album. And I think it's helped the strength of the songs. As much as possible these days, we try and take ego out of the pre-production and writing process as much as we possibly can. And that's in it. It's let the best idea win. And that's gonna help us find the strongest material. And so for these songs, we were more collaborative, and we were able to sit and definitely heavily edit and re-edit and pour over the songs together, sitting together, and it was really, really fantastic.
But
is that something that was a little newer to the process, that kind of reworking and editing?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like you say that, Meg, but then Strike Gold, we sat in the room and built that one together, like
from the ground up.
Yeah, walked in with nothing and walked out with Strike Gold for that writing session. But I do think that, for my own songwriting process, the hardest part is editing. That historically has been the hardest thing to do, because particularly if you're writing from a space of scarcity, which I think a lot of writers can write from a space of scarcity. This is the last thing. This is the only idea I'm going to have. Like, oh my God, like it's a miracle. It's here, leave it alone. Don't even look at it because it might run away, type of an energy. But I think as I have written a lot more, the thing that I've been trying to work on is my ability to re-enter ideas, to like, all right, this is a version of that idea. Let's go in, let's take this out, let's put this in, let's reform it. And that actually takes a lot of discipline to be able to re-engage with your ideas and think that they could manifest differently.
Right. Well, but that's great, because those, there's that notion of first idea, best idea, and never change anything. But, there are so many great songwriters who, do what you are doing, which is going in and taking it apart. And I like this piece, but it goes better in this puzzle over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, I think I have dealt with writer's block in the past. and overthinking my creative process and struggling with the temperature with which I deal with my creativity and figuring out how to engage. So I've read so many books about the writing process, not just from songwriters, but like one of the most impactful books that I've read from my own like creative application has been Stephen King's On Writing. It's an amazing book. And he talks about, you know, having discipline, having a work ethic, and, you know, not celebrating the mysterious element of creativity that you don't quite know what's coalescing, what's coming into the universe here, but also put that aside and you know, acknowledge your participation, that it can be sweaty work, and that's okay. Like, we don't all have to be like Tom Petty and just breathe out hits, you know, like he can do that. And then I can sit here and sweat over this song, and it's great.
Yeah, but a friend of mine who worked for Warner's talked to Tom Petty once and said, you know, all of these songs, there's no bad songs. And Tom Petty told him, we don't let you hear the ones that are bad.
Love that.
So talking about, you know, sibling rivalry and working together, I mean, that's obviously reflected to a large degree in the title Blood Harmony, and you guys have referred to that before, obviously, in your music with Kin and other things. But this song really, for me, it kind of, I don't know, it seems to be the one that I don't know, most or at least best sums up a lot of your music for me in terms of you guys working together. And I don't know, what was the inspiration for that? I know it came from a conversation with your mother. Is that it?
That's right. Yeah. We as a family, the women in our family had all read this book called A Tale for the Time Being by the author Ruth Ozeki. And so we were on the phone discussing that book and our reactions and what we thought was special about the book and all that stuff. And it sort of way led on to way. And we were talking about, you know, a lifespan and sort of the trippy experience of being a physical body in the world that, you know, that will expire eventually, and how grateful we all are to be on the same plane together. You know, a lot of our earliest musical memories stem from Megan and myself sitting on the piano stool with our mom, and our mom teaching us to sing harmonies. Even before we could read, I remember her just playing around because that's what she did with her siblings, and, you know, some of the bonding that they experienced. So for her to pass that on to us, and here we are, you know, as adults, able to talk about the gratitude of living in a world where we all exist at the same time, and that our mother instilled this love of music in us. And when we were in the studio recording Blood Harmony, it just so happened that our parents were in town. They live down in Georgia still, but they were in Nashville on the final day of tracking. And we were able to coerce our mom to come in the studio and sing BGVs with us on it. So she's there, and we're all building a chord and doing the thing that we've been doing since we were, you know, 3 and 4 years old. And it was really, really special. So I just feel that song, you know, we had intentions of that song being sort of a, you know, the female family anthem. And then of its own accord, it also sort of attracted its own sort of spiritual juju and coincidence, and her being on the track. So that song has wound up being very, very special. And I think that's also why it was granted the special title of being the title track of the record as well.
Well, mission accomplished on all fronts that you set out to do with that. And it's just a great image and a memory too, you know, of your mom and you guys together. And you kind of take it even one step further in the family way with this by getting Tyler Bryant, your husband, to produce, right? Now, that sounds to me like something that seems like a really good idea, but could easily turn into a really bad idea.
Yes, we do like fraught decisions, don't we? We like to make fraught decisions.
Yeah, I mean, because it's quite a complicated dynamic, of course, between Rebecca and
triangles there.
But actually, we've created a lot of music together between the three of us already. And he is very similar minded in kind of music he loves. You know, he's a Texas blues player. He gets where we're coming from. He gets where we're trying to go. And also because we wanted to bring in that more of a live energy with live drums, because on the previous projects that we've produced, Rebecca has programmed the drums. And so we wanted to open it up a little bit and wanted to bring in the live feeling. But we weren't exactly sure how we wanted to accomplish that. And so to bring in Tyler to specifically help us with the bass tracks, the drums and the keys and the bass, felt really good. You know, he's been building a brilliant studio in their basement and getting all of the vintage gear and learning how to work it. And he's been getting some really incredible sounds. So for us wanting to kind of come into a process where we felt comfortable, it was really the perfect decision.
Yeah. So he's a brilliant young engineer. Yeah, for sure.
But Megan, you weren't coming in the morning and finding that your guitar was just a little lower in the mix from the day before.
Tyler and I have a really, really incredible, great relationship as now siblings. And he's very, very supportive. And so if anything, I'm like, turn that lap steel down.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that should be said, actually. I do think, to Tyler's credit, he loves being married to a strong woman, and he loves having his sister-in-law be. We're all very opinionated, and we will get in the trenches and we will fight for our ideas. And that's one thing that we all have in common, is that we celebrate a dynamic where it's not like fighting, like calling each other names, but it's arguing, and it's trying to, like, you know, to make sure, as Megan said earlier in this conversation, letting the best idea win. Like, everyone is really trying to bring their A game and do
it's not
special.
Yeah, it's not to say there aren't tense moments. There for sure are, but that's to be expected and to be celebrated, because you work through it and you figure out how to make something really cool of it.
Well, listen, I've been talking to you for 15 minutes and I wouldn't pick a fight with either of you, never mind both of you at once. So
yes, and I think that he's a very smart guy.
I think
I think that he was loath. I mean, granted, our dynamic as sisters, it's very thick. We have a very thick relationship. And so at this point, you know, 31, 32 years into our friendship, you know, as siblings since birth, we have so much shared experience that we can, like, look at each other and non-verbally have conversations and really, like, and 9 times out of 10, we'll have both understood what we were saying. Sometimes it'll bite us in the ass and we'll be like, you were saying that, I thought, oh no, well, I thought, and then we've had this, you know, big blowout over nothing. But the majority of the time, we're very much in step. Sort of the creepiness at a distance, like quantum stuff between you and I.
Must come in handy on stage, though, because I imagine you guys can kind of glance at each other and go over here and take the song where you want to go.
We can read it very well.
I'm always, if Rebecca decides to, like, take a left-hand turn, I'm always there. The problem is the rest of the band members sometimes are a little bit behind.
Do you guys have to have a firewall between your personal and your professional relationships, or does it all kind of blend together and it's no problem?
Well, not that it's no problem, but it's something that we've worked so much on over the years, because there's a reason that so many sibling bands have imploded. It's a lot of pressure and weight placed on the relationship, because it's not just siblings, it's not just creative collaborators, it's not just label owners, it's not just, you know, branding or social media personalities or, like, whatever, all the things at once on the relationship can get very heavy. And the health of our relationship is always registered as the most important thing, because we want to be able to get along. We want to be able to have there be space for both of us to grow and change. And I think the biggest key to our relationship has been maintaining trust that we can and will change with one another, because there's nothing worse than, like, feeling like you're stuck in a relationship where you're like, we just can't even, we're so close that we can't just, like, change or try new things. And we are always trying new things, trying and talking and communicating. And I think that gives me a lot of faith and hope that we can continue to do this as sisters and make music and write and, get deeper and go bigger and, you know, be more and more ourselves with each other. And so that's the greatest gift of all.
Right. I think sister bands tend to fare better though, because as you mentioned, I mean, I think women are generally better communicators and more intuitive and more empathetic with each other. I mean, it's you know, you can think of all the brother bands that break up, you know, the Kinks
I don't
and
know.
whoever, but
Heart was out for
oh no, I
quite a
know.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, Haim are still are you know, I don't know.
Sure.
I think women just have a better track record. Have you guys ever made music without each other?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not just at home by yourselves or whatever, but have you ever, either of you ever been in a band that didn't have a family member in it?
You know, no, but I actually remember, Megan, this is something that I've been thinking about. A couple weeks ago, I was like, we would never make music apart. In an interview, I said that. And then as soon as I said it, I was like, well, that's stupid. Like to stick some signpost in the sand of things that we won't do, because the thing that's surprised me the most is the stuff that I didn't think that we'd ever do that we've done. So I don't know.
Well, I will say that there's a lot of a feeling of where do I end and where does Rebecca begin, and I feel the most complete when we're making music together, and I think that's just because it's been forever. You know, not that we have, you know, Rebecca and Tyler make a lot of music together, and it's really great. Who knows, maybe something comes of that. You never say never, but I feel the most happy and complete when we are making music together. It feels right.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but in Nashville especially, and in roots music, you guys definitely don't fit a mold. You're definitely, you know, doing your own thing. I'm guessing you must have had a whole bunch of people over the years try and tell you to do this and change that and commercialize this and soften that. And do you have to play that steel guitar, and can't you just play a regular guitar? And has it been a fight to stay kind of true to what you guys wanted to do and believe in and stay on your own path?
I think just in the decisions that we've made, like, I don't know that I would categorize it as a fight, because we just went ahead and cut it off at the knees. About, well, we were like 15 or 16 years old, and we decided that we were going to do it the hard way. We were going to go on our own and on our own terms. So what would you say, sis?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, I think people saw the potential of what we could be. And there have been moments where I think that we've been swayed, but then realized very quickly what made us happy and what didn't make us happy, which is why we started our record label, so that we had control over everything and we didn't feel pressured, because I think everybody wants to be, we want to be people pleasers. But I think it's the most important for us to be authentic, know when to say no, know when to say yes, and who we are and what's our voice. Very, very important for us. I think that's what draws our fans to us. And it's something that I think we'll definitely stick with. That's what's most authentic to us. You know, we are very do-it-yourselfers. We have been from the beginning, and that's what makes us feel like us.
I also love the fact that in all your videos, you guys are playing your instruments and looking like people. You know, you don't look like you've been 8 hours in hair and makeup and you're surrounded by, you know, all the glitz and glamour. It all feels, again, very authentic and very real to who you are. And it also seems like that's a great act as sort of a role model for young girls to play music. Do you get a lot of responses from kids who are saying, hey, I picked up a guitar because I saw you, or, you know, things like that?
Yeah, I think that question could be interpreted a couple different ways. And I think there is an angle to what my sister and I prioritize in not having styling be the focus. Sure, I think that, you know, styling can be really fun. And if you're pulled to play with, you know, I want to wear stilettos, or I want to dress in a certain way to get a certain response, be that as it may, for us, the music has always been at the very center of why we even would be making a video to begin with, that, you know, we want to write songs, we want to play guitar. So everything else is trappings around that singular focus. But I think being able to, in an era where a lot of the music that continues to take off is very tech driven, you know, I'm going to sit here and we've partaken, you know, I'm going to program the drums in GarageBand. I'm going to use a keyboard to simulate a guitar. I'm going to simulate.
Right.
That begins to feel very removed from the source for us. So to be able to inspire the next generation, like I so appreciate bands like Greta Van Fleet or Samantha Fish or Celeste, artists who look and feel different, are bringing the guitar back to center stage. Hey, it's a real instrument. It's not comfortable to play at first. That's why we practice. You gotta build up some character with this thing. You're not gonna just push a button and have something happen. You gotta get a lot of stuff lining up to make it work. And that's gratifying. It's fulfilling. It's creative fulfillment that we want to inspire people with. And we have been really lucky to attract, you know, listeners that will come to the show with their kids. And that vibe does exist, where it's like, yeah, my little girl or my little boy is checking it out and they only want to play the guitar now. And that's like,
and people of all walks of life, really. We get sent tons of videos of people sharing their progress on the guitar.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
Well, you guys do enough of that too. I mean, you've posted, I don't know how many classic rock covers on your YouTube of people that, I think people would be surprised to associate with you. Scorpions, Hall & Oates, Black Sabbath, Santo and Johnny, for crying out loud. I mean, come on. Is there any music that you guys disagree on? Is there somebody that one of you loves and the other one just goes, no?
I don't know that we have any of that, actually.
No, we're really lucky to be on the same page. Like maybe like Rebecca has been so head over heels for Chris Whitley, and at first I don't think I really quite understood. I was like, yeah, this is good, but I don't know that I'm like feeling it in the same way that you are. But then as she was playing it like more and more, I understood it. So maybe having patience for some of the loves that we both have.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. Chris Whitley is wonderful. Have you heard his daughter Trixie? She was singing with Dan Lanois for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Black Dub. I love her solo stuff as well. Yeah, she's
yeah,
incredible.
Exactly. So what's the next cover going to be?
We actually don't have any designs on any as of yet. We have a document where I'm always adding to the list. We'll be out and about and we'll hear a song and be like, oh, we could crush this. Let's do this. Let's add it to the list. But it's
just happens like that. Like you hear something and go, let's do this. And that it's simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, easy peasy. All right. Well, listen, I know you guys have other people to talk to today, so I will let you go. But I just want to say thanks again for your time today. And thanks for all the music. Love this new album and can't wait to see you guys come back up to Canada again.
Oh, thank you, Daryl. It's been really nice to speak with you.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.